Yeah.
Who are you, Isaac?
Hi, my name is Isaac Mosquera. I am a lifelong engineer turned, business and product leader. I've done a lot of startups in my career, my background, and yeah, today I guess we're going to be talking a little bit about technology. Who are you, Kate?
My name is Kate MacAleavey, and I'm an executive coach and an organizational consultant. I love business and people and the intersection of the two.
Yeah, and making people work together better too.
Yes, that too.
Yes,
That too.
which is how you and I met. About 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Probably 7, 8 years ago. We had read a book about how to lead in this new world. I guess this is where, you trust your employees a lot more and you give them more autonomy and a lot more freedom. And that, caused us to think differently about how we manage and lead our teams, but also how we work together. And we had our challenges, as every leadership team does. And so, one way or another, we stumbled across your name on the internet and we pulled you in, and then you and I have been working together ever since. Is that,
Pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And we basically thought it would be fun to record the conversations that we have, anyways, between two people who love to talk about people, psychology, leadership,
And
technology,
and laughter, lots of giggles.
and
We love those
laughter.
giggles.
We love giggles and AI adoption, and just like this moment in the world where nobody knows what the hell is going on. And perhaps we could sit in some questions together and also learn some things together.
Yeah. Well, you thought you were going to start today, but I'll start the questioning.
Yeah. No.
Before you hit record, you said you were scared, and you said I was scared about technology.
Oh,
Tell,
yeah.
why were you scared to hit record? I feel like you're such a confident person. What was up with that?
Humans are the worst, don't you think? Let's
Not all of
see.
them. Some of them
Not
are
all.
pretty not, they
They're
can be
pretty
pretty bad.
okay. We're hoping to
Yeah.
find some pretty okay humans to hang out with.
Yes.
Let's see what scares me about technology. As the
No, no,
person who's
no. Specifically, no, no.
what?
Specifically, what
Oh
scared you about
God.
hitting the record button?
Because I feel like we have to be perfect, and that's not real, nor is it interesting. I want to be very imperfect on this podcast, non podcast, whatever we're doing, because I think people need to feel the human side of things again. But hilariously, it's scary to be human. I guess
Yeah.
that's it. Is that satisfactory to you?
Not really, but we can move on because I know
What?
you weren't
Oh,
expecting that
go,
question.
Coach Isaac. Tell me what I'm actually feeling and why I'm
I don't know
scared.
what I'm not, how am I going to tell you what you are feeling? I just know that it's deeper than whatever your response was.
That's what good coach. That was pretty deep. That was pretty vulnerable.
I'll move on because I know you weren't expecting that
Yeah, it's okay. That's the point, though.
yes.
Anyway, today we're going to be jumping more into the technology side of things. Do you want to talk about leadership in technology or just the technology itself? Because you recently started coding again.
Oh, I did. Well, when you say technology, do you want to talk about specifically Gen AI or just technology in general?
Let's do AI since that's more
Yeah,
appropriate
since
right now.
it's what everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recently started coding again, and in part it's because the all the tools that are available now allow me to produce a result or output without having to essentially set up a bunch of scaffolding and templates and all like the pre-work before you can actually get to work. All of that is gone. In fact, even some of the actual work is gone. So you're just sort of thinking of ideas at a very high level, and it allows you to produce outputs, which is very gratifying. I I am like I'm addicted to it, and I've seen other people call it addictive. And what's addictive, I think, for me, and I think anybody who's creative or wants to be creative and wants to get ideas just out there, but just to see what goes from your brain to something that's like tangible is so easy to do now. So you're just like, well, can I build this? Can I build that? Can I do this? And so that becomes pretty addictive because you're just kind of going from one thing to the next, and then your momentum picks up. And that is just something that I've never been able to do before, or in order to get into that flow or into that state, it takes an enormous amount of focus and effort, 4 hours free in a day. And I'm a father of two. I don't have that kind of time. But now I go from idea to something tangible in what, 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes. And if I mess that up, who cares? I'll go do it again. And I was just working on an app and I changed like the colors and the styles and what it did and how it talked to you, like the prompts or not the prompts, the way that everything was, I guess the design and the tone of the app 2 or 3 times because it was so easy to do. So I think we're just living in an unprecedented time for builders. And I think if you're not a builder, I think it's going to be really, really hard for those people
So it
because
sounds
it's just.
like, if I can ask, like you, it sounds like individually you've been having a little bit more fun tinkering. And I do want to get back to the fact that you texted me like 2 weeks ago, being like, this does freak me out. Like jumping back into the technology does freak me out at this point in my career.
Oh, so it wasn't so much that it was freaking me out getting back into the technology.
Mhm.
It was more, I actually love, like, it's kind of weird. I'm kind of like in the technology, but not in the technology. Like I'm separated from it because there's a machine between me and the code. I don't look at the code very often anymore. I look at it generally, and I know that works well for relatively small size projects. And I know for bigger projects, or if you're dealing with critical enterprise systems, you'd have to look at the code a lot more. But what really scared me was that I, along with a lot of software engineers, got paid in part because it was so difficult to produce some sort of output.
Mhm.
Right? There was a lot of complexity and there was a lot of things that you had to go to school for, 4 or 6 years. And there was, and the layer, the business people, the business layer depended on the doers to get the things done. But now that you don't need so many of the doers and really the leaders or the people above, you don't need so many doers anymore because it's so much easier to produce an output. What does that mean for me as someone who I always had my coding as something like a safety net? I'd always get paid pretty well. But I believe that because it's so easy to do these things, people who are just good at coding, like that's all you're good at, right? The salaries and the income you would make from that are going to be compressed a ton. And they already have been over the last 10, 15 years as jobs go into other countries. It was already getting compressed. Now this gets hyper compressed. And if that's your only skill, I don't know how long you really last for. So that was really scary for me.
Ooh,
Um,
what do you think the skill, like what is going to be the most important skill for these engineers to acquire? And if not just engineers, leaders in this area?
so this is something I talked to you about, and I agree with you. I'm actually more curious as to how you came to this conclusion. We talked a lot about people who can be creative, who can experiment, who can be kind of agile. How did you come to that conclusion? Because I agree with you. Like,
I think I came to the conclusion because I was thinking about how present we have to be with the technology. How, like, I'm playing with it, I'm watching leaders play with it, right? Like, everything is changing so quickly, right? And so I go back to us being very much back collectively in the learner's mindset, right? We're
yeah,
all kind of like looking to our left, looking to our right, being like, okay, right? We can't work on an automated way of thinking anymore. We can't just skate by on like a little bit of thinking. Everyone needs to have like their eyes wide open and be very aware. And to me, that just reminds me the most of when you're learning something that's brand new, right? You're like, ooh, I don't know the rules. I don't know the barriers. And so that's what it made me think of. And so I think being adaptive, being flexible, we're talking to our good friend Eva earlier and talking about self trust and like the level of self trust I believe leaders are going to have moving through this is so much higher than before.
what
Because what?
what do you mean about self-trust? I'm sure if I went to every leader, you're like, "Do you trust
Yeah.
yourself?" They're like, "Yeah, I trust myself." Or do you think that's
So
not true? Do you think maybe their outward projection towards me is, oh, you're projecting confidence and it feels like you trust yourself, but because you get to be closer, or intimate in closer settings with other
yeah,
leaders,
yeah,
what do they tell you that like I don't get to see? Because I see them emanating trust and confidence about trust themselves. What do you
yeah.
see happening, or what do
To
they tell
me,
you?
it's in the moments that we're talking about a really hard decision, right? Like that's where I get to see the mechanism really at play, which is how do I let go of 500 people in the next 20 days? How do I fire somebody else, right? How do I do something big that's probably going to have more of a negative impact short term, but will hopefully lead to a positive long term scenario, right? Like that conversation when we're having it one to one is where I can see how much they trust themselves because there's the questioning that's like, ooh, they want to outsource it to other people, right? And there's a level of information you have to acquire from other people, right? You want some data. You're not like I am just a monolith and this is fine. I'm by myself, right? But there is the confidence I can hear in being like, even when I say this, Kate, I can hear myself like I know that I have to go do this, right? I'm listening for certain indicators that I'm like, okay, they trust themselves enough despite how scary and quite frankly shitty this is going to be. Does that make sense? And you
Yeah.
and I have been through a million of these moments. But
Yes.
there is, to me, it's actually the most solo moment. It's like when you go home and you're looking in the mirror and you're like, am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? Like it is like a very individualistic moment, but I'm able to read it at this point. So it's something I, work with leaders on helping develop that because you're just going to have less information, less confidence, less data right now before you have to make the decision. How do
Why?
you, what?
I was going to say, well, two things. Like, one, I think it's really cool that you can share that perspective. I think a lot of people, even myself included, again, you look at leaders and they look so confident and they look like, okay, I made this decision. But really, what I hear you saying is actually they make the decision after a fair amount of self-doubt. You
Yeah.
or anybody on the other side of that decision feel like, oh, it was just done. But I don't think we get to see how much self-doubt there was leading up into that decision, and you get to see that. So I think
Hmm.
that's pretty cool. And then I guess my follow-up to that is, why do you think that we're going to have less information? It feels like we're going to have way more information. I feel like
Sorry,
I'm
I should
in.
say, yeah,
Go ahead.
inundated.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I should say it's like we have less like clear, solid data. You know what I mean? So like it just takes me back to like when newspapers were around, right? It's like, okay, this is the information you have available to you,
I
right? And you're like,
see.
great, I'm making my decision based on that. Now we have an excess, and now we know there is too much, and so we can't solidly, confidently look at the data yet, right? In this moment that I believe that we're going to feel good about. So I think we have less like solid, confident data right now, but we have a shit ton of data.
I see what you're saying. It's like less data that will inform us about the future because by the time by the
Yes.
time like I wake up tomorrow, dude, it's all changed. It's so wild to me right
Yeah.
now. That is something also that is scary to me too,
Well, do you agree
where,
or disagree with that?
oh, dude, that's what I'm saying is I agree with that, and it's scary to me because I wake up.
Yeah.
I foolishly go on LinkedIn and go look at all the things that are happening. 90% of it is just other Gen AI stuff are created by Gen AI, and then all these other announcements. And it's hard for me to keep up. It's like, here's this new model that can do this. Here's this new tool. And this new tool does this, what this thing does. And here's this benchmark. And this benchmark says this thing is better, but last month this thing was better. And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
I don't even know how the people in these companies like keep up. And so you know what I ended up doing?
What? What?
So what I'm laughing because here's what happened. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to learn this tool. And so I paid like, $20 for Claude. And then I was like, well, I need to pay $20 for Codex and ChatGPT. So I paid $20 for that. And then I was like, well, what is Gemini doing and Google doing? I paid $20 for that. And what is GitHub and Microsoft doing? So I paid $20 for that. So I have all the tools now.
Yeah.
And I'm just paying for all the subscriptions because I just don't want to be left out.
Yeah.
And
And where has
and I
it
just
left you?
where has it left me? Well, and this is nothing against Gemini or any of the tools. Is like just happen to use Claude a lot more. I couldn't even really necessarily explain to you why. It's not because I think it performs better. I think just because like I see the examples on the internet, and that's where I end up just going back to. So where it left me is a bunch of money I'm spending on unused tools. That's, but
Okay.
actually, hold on. But
Yeah.
the good
Yeah.
thing, and so for anybody listening and watching, the good thing is I went from, because we started where, hey, Isaac, you were scared. I was very, very scared and freaking out. I went from scared to, and I think you see this now, which is to happy. And like I said, I'm addicted and I feel in a very different place. I feel like
Mhm.
I'm not scared about it as much. I'm still
Yeah.
unsure about it, but I'm not scared. And now I'm just like, what can we do with it? What can we build? What can we explore? And it's just every day it's more about wonderment, I guess, and
Cool.
exploration and creativity. And you know, again, back to the creativity and the creative people, like creative people now have like an outlet to go from idea to something tangible. It may not be production ready, but you get to see it. And is it a good idea, or does it manifest in the way that you think it would, or do you scrap it and start all over? It just doesn't even matter anymore. So I went from super scared to wonderment and excitement about where this is all going to go. I don't think I think it's going to affect a lot of jobs. I can't tell you how exactly, but
Mhm.
I don't think they go away. I think
No.
I
Well, I
think
have a
back to,
question.
yeah, tell me.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
We never ask each other that, by the way. We just like talk over each other.
We gotta go, go, go.
Just being all polite. So what I'm hearing is like individually, as a builder, as an engineer, right? You're starting to have a lot more fun. Isaac also works at AWS. He works in
I
a massive
do.
system, and so I'm curious for from the inside, right? What is happening? How are you seeing these tools applied, and
Oh,
also like the roadblocks, like the realistic roadblocks you're seeing that you can't
okay.
share.
Yeah. Well, I can share a bit of it, and a lot of it is already kind of public. So I think what's very well known with everywhere is that Amazon has these two pizza teams. So Amazon is actually already really well structured for this
What's
kind
a
of
pizza
change.
team?
Oh, what's a pizza team? Is that
Pepperoni and cheese?
yeah, yes, and Hawaiian for
Oh
some people.
God. Oh, nobody needs Hawaiian.
And so two pizza teams is essentially the idea that no team should be bigger than what could be fed with two pizzas. And this has been around since Jeff Bezos' early days. And the reason he did this, and I think it aligns well, I think, Kate, with the way you and I think, which is the more teams you put together and you have more hierarchy, the more hierarchy you have, the slower decisions get made, and you create a significant amount of dependencies on this chain of command, right? So the bigger this pyramid becomes, the more you have to push things up the chain in order to get things back down. And so one of the things that I love about working at Amazon and AWS is this idea of these two pizza teams because you're pretty much empowered. There are, I'm not going to say there's no red tape, but there's relatively small amount of red tape and it's by design. And if, for example, and I'll tell you how it manifests maybe in a potentially negative way, but you could see it as a positive thing, which is because everybody's so autonomous and can do whatever they want, and there are more doers at Amazon than there are managers, like way more. I think that ratio is really good at Amazon. What ends up happening is it becomes one hard to coordinate, which is okay because that's the cost. But what we get to do is we get to innovate much quicker and we do way more things and we're constantly pushing things out. And so what people see from Amazon sometimes is like, hey, why do you have 14 different ways to manage a container? Right? And some of it is duplicative, but the other thing is about giving people choice, right? Because we're all kind of operating semi-independently from each other, what we're hearing from my set of customers may be different than this set of customers. This other team might be talking to another set of customers, and we may be building products that are kind of more focused towards a certain set of customer that I get to talk to that they don't, and vice versa. And this results in some of the duplicative nature of it. Now, how does AI work really well for us? Because AI is good for people for doers, right? And creative people, and people are expected to have some sort of output. And because we're structured in this way, it's making many of us move a lot faster. What I think, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, which is I think that there's a lot of leaders who are not necessarily doers, but more just yes or no people, or like make a handful of decisions. What I think is going to happen is a lot of those people, we're going to need less of those people, and we're going to want to have more of those people who not only make the yes or no decision, but then know how to direct the machines to do the work.
Hmm.
Like, do you think that that's true? Like that companies might be a little bit smaller, or more flatter? Or do you think that we'll need more leadership and more just management and helping people think through things? Or neither, and maybe it
Mm,
stays the same. That makes
that's
sense.
a
Like,
uh try again. Tell me one more
try
time.
again.
Try again.
So I think it's so what I believe is going to happen is, and I'll give you an example as a
Yeah.
manager, as a leader. Historically, what I would have to do in order to get people one or two levels below me is write a document, or write this plan, and then I would write subtasks, and then I would delegate those subtasks to people, right? And those people
Mhm.
would then take it and take that subtask and expand it into other subtasks to delegate it and push it down one more level, right? So I'm three levels above an IC. So, but now I just give the machine those instructions. So, and I'll give you an example of this, which is I needed somebody to run a report to get me, you know, um, the adoption of a particular product. How much is this
Mhm.
product growing? And I wrote it into a ticket. And this ticket went to another manager. This manager approved this ticket to get the work done. This IC went to go get the work done, reported back to their manager, reported back to me. I got the report, and I'm like, this isn't the right thing. That other manager was like, well, you need to put more details into this. I went to go do it, and halfway through it, I'm just like, I can just go get Gen AI to do this. I don't need you to do this. I just, because I know how to do it myself. I
Mhm.
don't need those people to do it. I'll just go get it done, and I would have gotten it done. Literally we went back and forth for weeks. I got it done in two
Mhm.
hours, less than
Wow.
2 hours. So
Wow.
that's what I mean. That's what I think is happening more and more, but that's also because I have I know how to use the tools. And I wonder what happens to the people who don't really know how to use the tools. Do you think they
Mhm.
survive,
Mm.
or do you think they get weeded out by the system or by the tools? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a huge question. My first answer is I don't know. I think there's like in real time it's happening. I'm so curious who is going to be replaced, who's not going to be replaced. Like what new jobs will pop up that we didn't have before, right? Like if you're managing like 200 bots or something, right? Like is that's a new job for somebody who's more operationally focused.
I think
Um
so.
yeah.
But I think that's true. Like I think when you said, are you managing 200 bots? But like some of those bots used to be people.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Do you, oh,
Absolutely.
I got another one for you. Do you think, because part of management and leadership is coaching people, right?
Mhm.
And getting them to think differently, and structure, and really just sort of how do you structure the
Yeah.
problem properly to give to the machine? Do you think that's going to be more needed? Like, do you think
Yes.
than before? Before you could just get away with giving the answer. Do you think you're going to need more coaches? Like, let me help you structure the problem versus give you the answer, because the answer's inside of the LLM, or the chat GPT. Now it's let me help you formulate the question. Do you think that
Mhm.
more coaches will be needed?
Like human coaches or robot coaches?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that you have worked well with me and my teams is how to ask better. I mean, we literally, didn't we not have an offsite? We had a whole session
Yes.
on how to ask better questions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do you not think that that's going to be like just a critical skill in order to
Yes.
leverage the machines?
I mean, and you and I talked about this like months ago, right? Like what will be most beneficial is like learning how you think, understanding how humans think, right? It's called metacognition, right? Like thinking about how we think so we can use the bots better. Like that's going to be where we are still smarter. I mean, we're still smarter in so many ways than the bots, right? But like there's no consciousness, not yet, and so it is like really interesting to me. It's like all about zooming out, right? Like we have to look at systems, we have to look at like how we manage people, how we think about personal development. I'm about to go on a tangent because I read, I think it's Meta or some other big company is going to try out like getting rid of like a level of management, right, and just
Yeah.
having like bots manage people. And while like look, I'm curious, I'm interested. Do I think it's going to work? Because like the number one measure of people liking their jobs, if you have a manager, is do you like your manager? If your manager is just like a bot, right? And like also critical data is does your manager care about you? Like, do you want to be managed by a
Mm, I wanted to quickly just say no, but then
bot?
no, of course not. Of course not.
But like,
Yes, of course
right?
even if somebody were to say yes, I think if the reality of it, once they experience what it's like to be managed by a bot, that they would they would feel lonely,
Yeah.
and that would
Oh,
feel alone.
very.
It would probably I feel like some people think they want that, and then they realize that when you get, just going back to this hard decision, right?
Hmm.
These
Hmm.
really hard decisions. It's fine when I don't have a hard decision. I'm doing my day to day.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a hard decision, you don't want to be alone. You want to talk to people and you want to feel like you're in it together with a team of human beings that will succeed and lose with you. And I'll say I feel that probably stronger than a lot of other people, but I also know that everybody feels it. Even the people who want to be alone, they
Hmm.
can't possibly just be alone all the time. They need to feel like they're part of something bigger. It's like I'd say that's true for 98% of the people.
Yeah.
And wait, let's go back to this meta thing. Hold on.
Yeah.
Are they getting rid of managers and replacing them with bots, or are they just getting rid of managers and just getting more of a IC to manage, higher IC to manager ratio?
I mean, this is where we should have our facts straight. I don't remember the entire article. I'm not trying to spread fake fake news, but
No,
if it's
yes.
not them, okay, let's again zoom back out and theoretically somebody is going to try this if it's not Meta,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
People are going to try everything. They're going to try every application to see where they can cut costs. People being one of the heaviest costs, right? And be like, can we
Yeah.
do this? Can we put our 1-year-old with a robot? You know what I mean? Like people are going to try fucking everything, and we're going to find the limits and boundaries like we always do with technology. So I just think the management component is so interesting because again, going back to like one of the critical pieces of does my manager care about me, yes or no? You're like, this bot can't care, it actually can't
Yeah.
care,
Well,
right?
I like how already in our first episode, we're going to need to have a whole fact-checking department because we're just making shit up now.
Yeah, I mean,
But
check your facts, everybody.
but
But
I
what are
think
you
I
going to
know,
say?
but you know what was still good about that, whether it's true or not. Let's just say it's a theoretical situation,
Unsure.
and you're right to say like you know what? Probably someone's going to hear you say this, and they're like, "Well,
Yeah.
if Meta did it, I'm going to do it," and then we're going to read in the news
Exactly.
tomorrow.
Kate said it.
Somebody just let go of all their managers because they heard it on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. You're welcome,
Like,
everybody.
yeah. Boom, saving money,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But hold on, I
So,
want to get back to last question. We'll close it out for today. But going back to like, it sounds like you've seen the benefits so far in a massive system at AWS of like where you're able to get more time back, right? But where are you seeing? Because I think you do have a front row seat, and I do too, to an extent. Of being like, where is it getting stuck? Where is the AI
ah,
application not advancing yet, which people don't fully understand from the outside?
so, and I think this is true everywhere, not just at Amazon. In the end, and this is a good thing, is we still rely on people to get work done. There are, the AI is very good at generating code, right? This is something you do with yourself anyways. Like it's just the only person I depend on generating code is myself. So
Mhm.
does a really good job of that. Summarizing reports. Well, I summarize reports myself. What it's not good at is coordinating work with other people that like you have to depend on.
Mhm.
So,
Mm.
let's say, for example, I have a particular, and I do go to market at Amazon, a go to market strategy. Well, Go-to-market sits at the middle of everything. I have to go depend on product and marketing to make certain decisions, and all of these decisions have to be aligned. There's no amount of Gen AI that's going to make that happen. It'll help me write my document that tells these people why I think it's important. But the fundamentals of being a human, being a good leader, management have not gone away. You
Mhm.
still have to be able to persuade other people, have a bit of charm, listen really, really well. Because I'll tell you right now, ChatGPT, LLM, it doesn't matter what you use, oh, it's going to absolutely affirm your biases. And whatever you start with, whatever bias you start with, and chunk of data and text, and you guide it, because you're like, well, do this, this, and this, and then you're guiding it towards your perspective, your worldview, right? Well, guess what? The person on the other side who's reading that, doesn't matter who created the document or the words or the messaging, is going to have a different one. And you as a human still have to listen to that particular perspective. That's never hasn't gone away. I don't see it going away for the next few years. I don't know, like you said, we don't know what the future holds, but for the time being, the bigger decisions still need a lot of human interaction, and that is still the long pole in the tent. Like I can produce 10 more reports, but I can't possibly get 10 more people to read it. Or, if the first report didn't convince you, that the nine that follow aren't necessarily going to give you the answer or
Mhm.
convince you either. So I think that's where you know that'll never go away. And this is where I think people like yourself who coach people like me and other leaders to be better listeners, to work better with people. Like, I mean, the thing that you've done really well is get people to work together as teams. I don't think I don't think it does not go away. It doesn't go away. That
Mhm.
will always be needed because in the end, like human beings, at least from what I can tell, are still going to have to make those decisions.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting that humans are like the limiting factor now, right? Like what we are comfortable with, what we are aware of, what we know, right, is actually limiting the technology's speed. Because if we don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable, right? Like when I watch, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, right? About like leaders making decisions, and they're like, it's all logical, it's all based on data. And
Oh,
all they talk about is what do they talk about?
just fear, risk. What
Feelings.
else?
It's all
Feelings. Yes.
feelings.
Yes.
If humans don't feel comfortable, they don't move forward. They won't.
Yes.
They won't move forward. Am I wrong?
Yeah. 100%. It's what everybody calls politics, right? Politics is, of course, a
Yeah.
feeling. It's like, I don't feel
Yeah.
like Kate is being genuine, so therefore I'm not going to do her thing, even if it, right? Like, even if your thing is great for business and it's going to, even if, what's
Oh
funny is like, even if your thing benefits me, but I don't think you're doing it in the spirit, in a good spirit, I'm not going
yeah.
to work with you. And I've
Yeah.
seen that happen. I've literally seen that happen. You're
Oh
like,
yeah.
dude, this is going to benefit you. Like, well, I don't
Hmm.
like that person. I'm like, oh, well, okay. Like, right?
Yeah.
So it does, I mean, the whole thing in the end will still come down to feelings, and probably more so than before because we're able to compile things quicker and show things quicker, and you're going to have to make decisions quicker. And so, like, a lot of
Hmm.
it will still come back down to, I think, like, do I feel safe making this decision or this person doing this thing? You're going to have to do that a lot more because the number of ideas and things that are going to be brought to your table as a leader have just 10x. I know I'm producing
Yeah.
10x ideas, like,
Yeah.
and that's just me. I'm sure people are doing it 10 times better than me.
Yeah.
So,
And that brings it back to, right, trusting yourself more, right? The speed of
oh
decision
yeah.
making is going to come back to that because you have to make so many more. So, anyway, we'll get more into that next time. But this was a great first episode.
Yeah, that was
Thanks,
fun.
Isaac.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. And okay, we're out.
You sure?
Nope.